All right, all right, all right. What's going on, everybody? I know I start with all right. I got to figure something else out to say. But what's going on, everybody? We are back on the social experiment. It is me, Deontay Cooley. We are going live. Again, we've been doing this for a regular basis now. What we're doing is we're trying to continue to have these conversations going. We're going to continue to highlight some men in our community. We're going to continue to have positive conversations with different men in the community, just kind of pick their brains a little bit, see what they have to offer, see what they've been through, kind of highlight them, talk about some of their accolades. But today I have Mr. Deng da Barber sitting here. He's waiting in the lobby to come on to the Social Experiment Show. We're going to talk to him a little bit. We're going to pick his brain a little bit, get a little bit of information about him. The thing what's interesting about Deng is I'm not really too familiar with this gentleman here. I just remember, going into the barber shop over at the Dapper Dawn Style and Lounge, and anytime I go into there, it's always a good vibe. It's a good positive vibe, and like I always chime in on different conversations that he's having, or he'll chime in on conversations that I've had. And I kind of learned that he has a great mindset. He's a good dude. And I follow him on Facebook. I see some of the things he's talking about, some of the things he's interested in as well. And then also, people, I'm asking people as I ask different people, like, hey, who are some people I should call on? Who are some people that I should interview? Some names have been coming up, and people said Deng da Barber. So I figured I'd get my man Deng on here, talk to him a little bit, see what he has to offer. So I'm gonna pull him out of the lobby, and I'm going to add them to the stream. Make sure y'all liking the channel. Make sure y'all subscribing to the page. But without further ado, I'm going to invite Mr. Deng to the channel.
Hey, what's going on,
Man, how you
everybody?
doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I can't complain. I can't complain. First and foremost, man, I wanted to thank you for being a guest on the show. Thank you for
Hey,
accepting my invitation and making some time for me to sit down and have this conversation with me, man. So I wanted to first and foremost appreciate you for that, for coming on the show and being
absolutely,
part of the
absolutely.
experiment.
When you asked me, I couldn't wait to get on, honestly. So I appreciate you for having me on, for real, for real.
Absolutely. That's good to hear. So I'm gonna ask you the same question I ask everybody when I first go on. So like, what made you interested in wanting to be a part of this conversation and be interested in coming on here to have this conversation with me?
Um, so the fact that you're trying to just like give people a platform to have a conversation, and then your conversations are kind of like anchored in positivity and giving people like good messages. You know what I mean? I really appreciate that, and I'm a real positive person myself. So as soon as I had the opportunity to kind of like get on here with you, and we both like just give our perspectives and have a good conversation, I was all about it.
Okay, okay. Well, again, like I said, man, I appreciate you coming on. And like I said, interesting. Like a lot of the people that I've had on here, I kind of have a little bit of background information about them. But for you, it's kind of like, I don't know if maybe you're younger than me or whatnot, but kind of who is Deng da Barber? Like, kind of take me through a little bit of who you are, where you come from, and you know what I mean, up until this point.
Yeah. So I'm gonna surmise my whole life like real quick. I was born in Sudan. I only stayed
Okay.
there till I was 2. Lived in Egypt for like 8 years. Came here when I was 10, and I've been in Erie for the past like 20ish years.
Okay.
I went up to like IUP and moved around a little bit, but I came back a couple years ago back to the city, and I'm a person who's like I like to call myself as like a creative and a storyteller. I like media, so I'm always putting up stuff on, like trying to create content and putting up stuff on the media. And then I'm just a positive person, so I'll be trying to like on Facebook and stuff, putting out positive messages and like talking to people positively when they come through the shop. I'm also a barber, obviously, Dang the Barber.
Okay, okay. So listen, man. Now I gotta kind of slow because you said some things. And you said it real quick, but it's very interesting to me. So you said Sudan for 2 years
Yeah,
and Egypt for 8, right?
yeah.
So I can assume, like, do you remember like living in Egypt for those 8 years? What was that like for you? Like, what was growing
Um,
up like for you?
Growing up in Egypt was actually a great experience, and I'm like very happy to have had that. I think over there is a greater sense of like community. So if you are, I'm gonna give you an example. Like if you're up and acting out and you're being like a little goofy kid, and a stranger sees you, they will like grab you. You know what I'm saying? They'll like smack you upside your head and then take you to your parents, and your parents would thank them, and then like smack you upside your head too. So it was
Okay,
very much like it felt like more like a community mindset, and it was like here's all about the individual. Over there is all about the community. So it was like the culture was a little bit different, but it was also similar. You know what I mean? Like
okay,
it was still like city living, but it was just like people kind of. It seemed that people kind of like were closer to each other.
okay. And you
Yeah.
like who did you grow up with? You have siblings, brothers, sisters? Like, what was that like growing up?
Yeah. So I grew up in a single parent household. My mother alone, very strong woman. I have two brothers and a sister. I'm the youngest out of everybody. Um, My family was like everybody kind of did their own thing. Everybody got their own interests. Everybody got their own paths. But yeah, we have a pretty good family.
Hmm. So then so I'm assuming you come to Erie at the age of 10.
10.
Okay, so when you come over to Erie at the age of 10, like what first of all, what made you how did you end up in Erie, Pennsylvania? Like was this place you picked to come to this place or what?
No, no, no. I didn't pick anything. My mom decided. But usually, how it goes is like you'll get a family that moves to a random place in America, like a family that's immigrating here. They'll move to a
Okay.
random place. They'll see that it's safe enough, it's inexpensive enough, and it's like nice enough. So they'll tell people back home, and then the people back home will start to like travel here, and then like you'll get micro communities in like super weird random places like Erie, and like there's a bunch of Sudanese people in the Midwest, and like so it's a lot of times it'll just be like the first family comes, they're like this is we can live here, so they
Okay.
talk to their friends at home, and their friends at home obviously are going to go to where they already have friends, like where they can feel safe and they already got a little bit of a support system, even though they're still dislocated from their country.
Okay, so when you came, like you guys came, you already had people that were already up here, so you weren't like up here just a stranger.
Yeah, yeah. So my cousin Mateen, he was already living here. We lived with them for a little bit before we grabbed our own house on 12th Street
Okay.
on the lower east side. Yeah.
Okay. So when you came, like, is English your primary language?
So no, it's Arabic is the Sudanese primary language,
Okay.
and then there's Dinka, that's the tribal language. I don't really know too much of that. I can understand a little bit of it, but I went to an English school when I was in Egypt though. So when I
Oh,
came
okay.
here, yeah, when I came here, I was already like fluent. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So then you come over here to Erie, and then you like 10 years old. So what was it like for you coming to Erie, and then kind of like integrating into the school system or integrating into the community and environment? Like what was that like for you as a young man?
Um, I think I happen to be lucky because of my personality.
Okay.
Everywhere I go, I'm like a loud, energetic, like very people person type of person.
Okay.
So as soon as I touched down, it was I immediately make connection, especially as a kid. As a kid, you make connections super easily. So as soon as I touched down, it was like we came to New Hampshire first, but as soon as I touched down, it felt like it was very easy to make friends. It was very easy to adapt to the new atmosphere because kids are really good at just like adapting.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, it didn't feel strange or weird or anything like that. But one thing I will say is I do appreciate the fact that I grew up in two different places and in two different complete like cultures,
Okay.
because it gives me like this perspective of being able to like step back from what's seen as a cultural norm and being able to be like, I don't have to do that. That's just a norm here. This norm might be different somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I guess I feel more like free to decide what parts of the American culture I'm gonna accept and what parts I'm not gonna accept. You know what I mean? Instead of just being like, this is what's normal. I have to follow this.
That's interesting to hear you say it like that. I like that. I like when you say it like that because like we know we live here. We don't even look at it like that. Everybody has a different perspective or different outlook on things. So
Yeah.
that's interesting to hear. So then you
Yeah.
come here. You know what I mean. You make your friends and stuff like that. So what was the first school you went to?
The first school that I went to in Erie was I think Piper Burley.
Okay.
Yeah, and my first few friends I remember were like Devontae Dixon, Jamie Evans, Ryan Dovershak. So I still remember them.
Uh huh.
My boy Mazen Shogar, like first few friends, but yeah, I still remember him to this day. I might have fell out with this person and that person, but like if I see them, it's still love.
Right. Right. So then like okay. So we got you in here. We got you in Fight for Burley. Did you get yourself involved in any like sports or like what were some of the things that you kind of involved yourself in the community once you come to Erie and start developing into a man?
So I didn't play any sports for our organization until I ran track at Central.
Okay.
And that was like junior year in high school. But I was always active. Like when we would go to Piper Burley, we would play this thing they called it like football. They combined like basketball and football,
Uh huh.
and it was reckless, but it was fun. We would play that, and I would always play backyard like fumble, and just what I mean, just the fun stuff. But I never did any organized sports until I got to high school, and that was track, and I wasn't even that good. I was still kind of like not that athletic, not that into sports. It was only after I started boxing when I graduated from high
Uh
school
huh.
that I really fell in love with like exercise and stuff, because like exercise right now is a big part of my identity. Like I love fitness and I love working out and stuff like that. But I didn't get into it until I got out of high school.
So you say boxing? You were boxing?
Yeah, I boxed for like 6 months, then stopped, then came back for 6 months. I went to school. I went to
Okay.
Cheney, and then I came back and did 6 more months. And I liked boxing, but I did it because my best friend Abe was a boxer, and he was a beast. You know, he
Okay.
was super super good. I honestly thought he was gonna go pro, but the streets sometimes get you. Different stuff happened, but yeah, I enjoyed boxing, but I always felt like it's limited. You know, because
Uh
like
huh.
you have your whole body, but you can only box with your hands. So when I got a little bit older, I got more into like martial arts. So I did some a little bit of uh, karate at TKO with Master Arrington. I right now I go to Three Elements and I do jujitsu and kickboxing. So like I like being able to obviously only in like self defense and in like ring situations. I like kicking people as well as choking as well as like grappling. I don't want to just like throw hands with somebody, because I feel like I got long legs while limited.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Man, that's interesting. So like, wow, that's crazy. So, like I was saying, like we learn stuff new about people every single day. But then I heard you say something about going to Cheney, and I think I heard you say IUP. So you did go to college?
Yeah, yeah. So I started out at Cheney University. It's HBCU near Philadelphia for
Okay.
the people that don't know. And Mr. Gary Horton is the one that kind of like pointed me to that direction as well as like talked to the people up there at the administration to get me in because I applied like last minute.
Hmm.
Um, and Mr. Horton was a big, big push in me going to college and succeeding in college and graduating from college. And he was always one of my mentors too. So I want to shout him out
Well, I was gonna get
on this
into
before
that.
we get any further. Yeah,
No, we're just gonna get
Mr.
into that.
Yeah, Mr. Gary Horton, he's that guy for sure. And then I went to Cheney for a year and I loved it. I thought it was a great experience. I love the fact that I love the HBCU climate and just because it feels like it's all love and there's never that like weirdness of like, oh, did they dislike me for a certain, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
For my pigment or whatever. It just felt like all love. And then I transferred to IUP, and the only reason I transferred was because I kind of like realized that the world isn't so kind to you,
Okay.
and you're gonna face discrimination. You're gonna face being disqualified because of your complexion. You're gonna face people who don't like you. So like, why hide from it for 4 years and then get out to the real world, just only to experience it then? So I transferred, as well as the distance too. I transferred to IUP to get more of that, like the reality of America. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's deep.
And yeah, and I went to IUP for 4 years. Started as bio pre med, and then ended up transferring to communications media. That's why I do the media stuff now.
Okay. Okay. So when you say like you pretty much you went for the experience of America at IUP, like what was that like for you as an okay? Because now we go to college, you 18, so you pretty much an adult. Like, so what
Yeah.
was that like for you when you got to actually have the adult experience of being in, I guess, the culture that you were wanted to get a taste of?
Um, IUP was wild. It was I mean, obviously, as a freshman in college, your head's gonna be like, looking left and right and everywhere. So I got up there. I was having fun. I was doing all the stuff that the young people do. But in college, though, I'm not gonna lie, I was super responsible
Okay.
for an 18, 19-year-old kid. I always maintained a job. I was actually sending money home instead of asking money to be sent to me. I
Really?
was a yeah. I was a RA. I was in the research program, McNair Scholars, and it's like a program to get more faculty diversity in higher education.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought about going back to college to like be a professor because or going back to college to get my PhD to be a professor, but that's like down the line. Um, I was just in a I was also in this other program, CHS, and it's called Creating Higher Standards. It's a peer mentoring organization, and that's one organization I'm really proud of. We can talk about it later if you want to.
Okay.
And yeah, like I was instead of going to college and acting out and just having fun and almost failing out and all that, I went up there and took a different route. I was partying, don't get me wrong. I was having my fun, but I was like super studious and focused because I knew I had to be. I had responsibilities.
I was just about to ask you that. So like when you said because you said something about like sending money home. So
Yeah.
where did all it like what was the process behind that and where did all this determination, all of this hard work and discipline and structure come from?
My mom. My mom, she a few like characteristics she instilled in me and in my brothers and sisters and stuff is that you got to be a hustler. You got to go and get it yourself. Like when we were back in Egypt and she couldn't like um, get a regular job, she would go and be people's maids, and she would like clean toilets, come home, cook, and make sure we was going to school, make sure we had education, all that with my dad not being around, and all that while not being like I'm an independent. That she didn't need to mention it. We just saw it, like she was leading by example. And in my head, I'm like, this is what you're supposed to be. She never had to say you got to work hard. She never had to say you gotta hustle. You gotta. It was just like that. That's just the norm. You get your. Oh, I was about to cuss on her. I don't know if I can or can't.
Hey
I don't
man,
want to
we
just.
grow, man. Do your thing.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say like yeah like nobody gotta light a fire under your ass. When you see it every day, this is what she did. This is who she was. So it's just like her leading by example made me who I am today, I think.
Okay, okay. So then when you talk about like sending money back home, like what was that about? Because we hear like you're from a different culture than I am. It's a lot of different I guess stereotypes or misconceptions as far as like when people come over to America and how they take care of their family. So when you say you were sending money home, like talk to me about that. Like why were you sending money home and like what was it like? What was the process behind that?
Yeah. So even though my mom is a hardworking woman and she's about going and getting a dollar and taking care of her responsibilities, there is a language barrier that she has that I didn't have because I came here young and I was able to learn and I went to an English school. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it was sometimes it was more challenging for her to get and maintain a job, just because of the language barrier and just different stuff. So like when I was at school and there were bills that needed to be paid here, I was sending money to
Right.
pay the bills. I was if my mom needed, I'm not gonna say no. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was just automatic. It wasn't even a thought. It was like, oh, you don't got a job? All right, I'm gonna get a job and also be a student. I could do it.
Okay.
I got energy. I'm 19, 20, 21. I got energy. I could have 3 jobs and go to class.
That's admirable, man, for real. So now let me ask you because you keep like you talk about your mom. Every time you say your mom, you light up. Like, and I
Yeah.
love to see that for real. So like, how important is your mother to your life, and how important is a mother in the life of a young man and developing into a man, especially without a dad being present?
I'll say very fundamental. Very I think honestly, like a lot of the kids that are getting in trouble these days and that are having a hard time, you know what I'm saying, avoiding the stuff that they should be able to avoid is because, and not to take shots or dig at anybody or dig at anybody. A lot of young parents like these days aren't as strong as parents that we had back then. Some still are, some are. I won't
Right.
take anything away from the ones that are, but and that just goes to show you how fundamental a strong parent and a disciplined parent can be, because like now everybody wants to worry about their own fun and their own being out here and partying or whatever, not worried about showing their kids that like that role model,
Uh huh.
you know, that like kids are starting to make mistakes that they shouldn't be making. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think having a strong parent is like it's like paramount because if I didn't have a strong parent, I'd probably be a idiot. I'd probably have been locked up and this and that, and you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah,
then, like, and then so you said like you came here and you mentioned Mr. Gary Horton, and that's I kind of we talk about that because I feel like I fall from the Mr. Gary Horton tree as well, as far as
yeah.
like him having different impacts on some of us in the community and involved with some of us. So like, what role did Mr. Gary Horton, as well as other men? Now you don't have to name drop any other men, but as far as like other men in the neighborhood and the community, what role did they have in assisting you with getting to where you are and like you as a development as a man today?
Uh, I honestly, I was a little bit of an idiot too as a young
Okay.
kid, because
Okay.
as a kid you're gonna be an idiot, but I feel like I wasn't too bad. I remember I was at the Quality of Life Center, that's Mr. Horton Center, and I threw this like ice ball at somebody, and it hit them in a spot that they almost like passed away. you
Mm-hmm.
know. And his name was Durgam. I'm cool with him now. He was a little bit older. He was like 4 or 5 years older than me. I was a kid. I was probably like 12, and I threw that, and I wasn't trying to hurt him. I just was being an idiot, and I threw it at him, and he like was ready to mess me up, and then I ran away. I didn't come back to the center for like 6 months. I was like, man, I
Oh
thought I
wow.
messed up. Yeah, I thought I messed up bad. So when I came back around, um, Mr. Horton showed me the same kindness and the same patience that he had been showing me all this time. You know, I came in and I talked to him like, "Oh, my bad. Like I shouldn't have did that in front of your building." And he was like, "No, it's no like he was like, it's no big deal. Keep coming around, keep hanging out. Like stay away from the mess and stay away from the streets or whatever, whatever." And eventually, over time, as our relationship developed, he would allow me to go into his center,
Hmm.
and I would be there by myself, and I would be there working on the computer, doing different stuff. I would I was a little bit older at this time, so like some of the other kids would come in and they would like want to work and want help with their stuff, and I would help them. And like
Okay.
him opening up that opportunity for me allowed me to be able to see that like I can have impact on other people, and that like that I think that helped me mature a lot. And to follow up on the question the last question you asked, how important it is to have like your mother. I also don't want to downplay the importance of having a male figure,
Right.
preferably a good father for sure. But I don't want to downplay other male figures. I feel like my mom raised me to be a good and hardworking person. But
Uh-huh.
like me looking at like Mr. Horton, or
Right.
like looking at I met Craig Heidelberg as an adult, but like looking at him and looking at like just other men in the community that are like solid and care about the community and care about the kids and like actually like you know what I'm saying? Like looking at you I think you're a little bit older than me. Looking at you and looking at what you're doing, this interaction is gonna keep molding my perspective on what it is to be a man, what it is to, you know what I mean? I think you have to learn to be a man from seeing other men, even if you're in a single parent household, right? As you grow, you start to look at different men, and like you start to resemble. Oh, this man looks like he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. So I'm gonna start picking up on his character. What does he care about? Why does he care about that? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, maybe I should care about that. And sometimes you might get the wrong role model if the father ain't there, and then kids is like, oh, he looks like he's that guy, and he's out
Right.
here. So then they might go down the wrong alleyway or wrong avenue. So it's important to have good male figures in your life as well.
Absolutely, I agree. And again, like I said, that's why we doing this. That's why we having these conversations because I feel like a lot of us can learn from one another. A lot of us can grow from one another, and we just have to be open to some of the information that we can receive, as well as open to some of the insights. You know what I mean? And it's very good to hear that. Mr. Horton that played that role in that life for you. I mean, because like I believe from you saying that, like you understand sometimes it takes us to be a little bit more understanding of some of the younger people and to be a little bit more caring and not be so scolding. And then I like that you said like you went back to the center to help. So then when it comes to stuff like that, when it comes to giving back and helping, and you talk about some of the Sudanese people, please correct me if I say anything wrong, but coming back here.
Hmm.
So how does it go about as far as like you giving back to your community and giving back to those small those small families that that come over here because they trust that other people have already come here and laid the foundation for them to be here? Like, do you get
I
yourself back involved with the community?
I think I think involvement doesn't always have to be like a designated activity.
Okay.
I think sometimes just having a conversation. Hey, what's going on? How was your day? What would you do? Oh, what are you doing? What you got going on? What are you learning at school? What are you and having that interaction, and then having a kid tell you about what they got going on. You'd be like, is that the best idea? Is that just having that like that interaction and that feedback back and forth with people that are younger than you. You know what I mean? I think that goes a long way. And me as a barber, I'm very blessed to have the opportunity to have 30 minutes with thousands
Right.
of different people. You know what I mean?
Right.
And when you're in here and you're sitting in Craig's chair, I don't know if you ever overhear it or not. People, I like having real conversations. I don't like to
Yeah. Oh
waste
yeah.
your time. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. You're not gonna come sit in my chair and be like, oh, the weather. We're not gonna talk if that's how you're gonna talk. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna ask you what's going on, what kind of problems you have, what's this, what's that, and then I'm gonna give you my input, and I'm gonna give you my honest and genuine input. I won't lie to you. Before I lie to you, I'll say nothing.
Right.
And I have a lot of kids come in and sitting down, and they'll kids as well as adults. I'm not gonna say all kids, but I like to play a sounding board for the people that come and sit in my chair. Because like even though the kids are who we should focus on, sometimes as adults we also need a sounding board. We need someone who can see what we see from a non-biased position and give their
Right.
perspective. You know.
Right. Right.
Yeah, because
Let's
if
go ahead.
I was gonna say, because if you got your emotions tied into a issue, sometimes it's hard to see the full issue. So if I can be an outsider and just not even tell you what to do, but just give you considerations. Have you considered this and that and the other? How about this? What if they did this or did that? And like sometimes it gets people to think about things they couldn't consider before. And I like,
That's
I like
interesting
doing
because I
stuff
think
like that.
about that. Like I be thinking about that all the time. Like sometimes going to the barbershop is therapy for real, depending on the type of barbershop that you go into. I mean,
Yeah,
because you can sit around and that's why I love coming. That's one of the reasons why I love coming there. And bringing my son there because the conversation is always good. The conversation is always progressive, and
yeah,
it's just like you feel empowered when you leave up out of there because like I heard something or that's a good dude. It'd be people who come in there and I'd be like, oh, that's a good dude. I ain't really know until I hear him talk. So like, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, but like, how was that like for you? Like knowing that you have that kind of possibility of power, influence, and impact on the community to know like somebody could be having a rough day, and then when they come into your sit in your chair and they had that good conversation, and then not only that, they get to leave looking good. Like, how does that
yeah.
make you feel as an individual, knowing that you have that type of power to make somebody feel good or feel better about themselves?
I feel extremely humbled and so happy that I'm blessed to be able to be someone who can impact other people's lives in that manner. Um, I had a client. His name is Daryl Belinsky. We actually friends from Central too. He came in here and he would just like every time he would come in here, I would do the exact same thing. Hey, what's going on? What you got going on? What you doing? How you living? Da da da. And he would talk to me about it, and he would tell me things like, "Oh, he's a paramedic, but he ultimately wants to be a gamer. So he'd come in and he'd be like, "Oh, I want to be a gamer." And I'd be like, "Oh, so why don't you do it?" And then he would give me a reason, and I'd be like, "Oh, so why don't you try it this way?" And then he'd go try it, and he'd come back, and he'd be like, "Oh, look, I did my logos," and I'm like, "Oh, that's dope." And then we'd talk about something else. He'd be like, "Man, like I wish I made more money at work or something to where I don't gotta work as much, and maybe I could take more time gaming." And I'll be like, "Yo, you work hard. Why don't you ask for a raise?" Da da da. And then he'd go, and then he'd come back and tell me like, "Oh shit, I had this conversation with him, and I got a raise." And then he would, you know what I'm saying? So it was like not just the fact that we just having a conversation and it's ending at that, but them leaving and then them coming back and giving me an update on it. And most of the time it's positive. Sometimes it's like, oh, it didn't work out, but they like learned something from it. That's always like I really like that. That's one of my favorite parts about like being a barber. The fact that I can talk to people, give them honest advice, and then they go and kind of actually implement it and act on it, and then it benefits their life. Like that's so dope. You know what I mean? Like that's I don't know. I feel blessed. I feel real
Right.
blessed to be able to influence people in any manner. Really.
Right. Listen, and what's interesting is crazy. I was sitting like I know I do my brainstorming late at night, so and I was doing some brainstorming. I'm like, you know what? Like I probably got enough equipment now to where I can probably pack up and do an episode in the barber shop. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking like, what barber? I'm like, I could just holler at my man Craig, come over there. So like because I think like when you had those conversations in those barber shops, I believe it's very therapeutic. Again, like I said, especially when it's positive and it's beneficial, because I know growing up as a kid, as a young man, going in different barber shops, the conversations are different. But those seem to be like places where men like the attention is on the man from another man, and it's kind of like the conversation is flowing. So it seems like it's always a good thing. So like I love the fact that you understand that, and then for you to talk about the way that you do it is like progressive, because it's kind of like if I'm watching my beard grow, it's like okay, we also talking about a problem. So the next week I come holler at you, and then you're like, yo, how did that thing go with? My goal is going good. I figured this out. You're like, okay, well here's the next step. And then even resources, like so when it comes to like giving out resources and information and stuff, are you a resourceful person, and or do you offer a lot of resources and insight to your client outside of like opinions?
Absolutely. Um, well, not me specifically giving them resources, but I point them to the direction of
Right, right,
resources. Yeah.
right.
So a while back, I was a part of this one group, and they were called I don't know why I'm blanking on this, but it was what they did is they help people kind of like navigate the criminal justice system. So a
Okay.
lot of times when people get in trouble, the system tries to separate them from information so they can get them process them fast and get them to accept pleas that they don't got to take, and give them like not give them misinformation but hide information from them so they won't be able to properly equip themselves to fight whatever they're fighting, whether they did it, didn't do it, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like whenever people come in here, they're like, "Oh, I'm fighting this or that." The first thing I say, "Hey, check these people out. Reach out to them, talk to them." And they're not lawyers or nothing like that, but they'll give you great information that can help you with your situation. Other people come in here and they're like, oh man, I want to get into media, whatever. I don't know where to start. I'm like, all right, check this person out on YouTube, this person, go down to Cam and go down to. So I love directing people in the right direction because like it doesn't take anything away from me um, to be able to get you closer to the goal that you're trying to achieve. You
Right.
know, like
Right.
people come, yeah, like I need a logo. All right, my boy does a logo. My
Right.
this and I try to even the people that come in here with services, I try to connect other people to their services so I could boss up their business and bless their stuff. You know?
Absolutely, like my man Terry said, it takes a village, man. So I love that because I'm one of those type of person as well. You know, like somebody wants some information, I try to answer some questions, and if I'm not able to find you the answer, what I'm trying to do is point you in the right direction of somebody
Hmm.
who can get you the resources and the insight. And then so I see you have you have a crew neck on that says Flash Mob, and I was looking you up a little bit, and I seen you got the so that's you. Tell me a little bit about that. What's take me through that. What's Flash Mob? How did you get involved with that, and what is that about?
So Flash Mob Podcast is
Okay,
yeah, the podcast is kind of small, but
okay,
it's a podcast that me and a few friends are developing. Me, Lewis, and Bryce Stagg and Lewis McCullum, and it's a lifestyle podcast where we kind of touch bases on all the things that are going on in society, all the things that are going on in entertainment, and just day to day conversation from the perspective of like three guys from Erie.
okay.
Um, I'm big on the production side. You know what I'm saying? Um, Bryce and Lewis are on camera, and then there's another guy on the side of the camera. His name's Splash, and we just talk about everything really. We just did our preseason where it was kind of like episodes that are rough takes, but they're shot well, they're edited well. We just kind of included all of our fans in
Uh-huh.
all the production. So we'd be like, if we the first episode, um, we didn't EQ that well, so we just told the people as we're, oh, the audio might sound bad, but just stick with us. Next episode is going to be better. Next
Right.
episode we fixed it, and then we had something else we had to troubleshoot, and we just like we included the people in on the preseason background stuff, but
Okay.
then our official first season starts. Um, we shoot on November 13th, and then the first episode will come out on the 20th, and that will be like once it's like actual first season. So everything will be legit. We'll have our strategy for moving forward, and we'll be dropping consistently. We drop on Wednesdays. We interview people from the city too.
Okay.
We interviewed this one young rapper. His name is Legacy.
Okay.
Um, Super cool interview. It was a lot of fun. We just created a list, probably like 20 people that we're gonna interview within throughout in the near future. You're on that list actually.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
yeah. So we're trying to do the same thing you're doing from a different perspective. Like ours is a little bit more entertainment and
Okay.
more just different perspectives.
Okay.
But it's yeah. I think there's like a there's so much talent here, and there's like a vacuum for people to facilitate and present that talent that it just makes sense to like be the person that does that. You know?
Absolutely. Absolutely,
Yeah.
man. That's what's up for. That's dope because like again, like I said, I want to see more people doing stuff like that. So for us to be getting involved, you know what I mean, in our own city, in our own environment, our own community, kind of like shed some light on what's going on here to kind of like uplift, I think is a great thing because it seems like a lot of us around here, we're so focused on the things that go on outside of here that we don't even realize how great things are around us.
Yeah.
Um, you know what I mean? I feel like there's a lot of great things happening in the area. I feel like there's a lot of great people in Erie, and I feel like it's beneficial for us to highlight them. So I'm glad that you and your crew has decided to take do the same thing in a different approach. And it sounds to me like you got your situation a lot more mapped out than I do. Because literally, man, I just came in, camera, downloaded the apps, and just got rolling. It was more of an idea in my heart to just get it going. So I mean, it's good to see, excuse me, other people doing that. So then when you talk about it, for you to be able to say that that's some of the things that you want to do, what are some of the things that you see in our city or in our community that are issues that we can address that we don't? Not things that are out of our reach, but things that we kind of need to start strapping the boots up and taking care of that we don't.
I think grabbing some of the youth and helping them see see that they can be more than just reckless, right? So me and my friend Wami, he's another great guy. He used to be out here wilding out, and then he changed his life around. He's an amazing father, great family man. Started a landscaping business, and he's hiring people he grew up with from
Okay.
from the Harley, and he's like an impeccable guy. I think you should if you still add him to your list if you're interested. He's a great guy to talk to.
Okay.
But me and him were talking about we had this idea. Like I said, CHS earlier. I'm gonna go into it a little bit more to
Yeah, go ahead. Go
explain
ahead.
what this idea would be. So CHS was creating higher standards, and it was a peer mentoring organization where us, the upperclassmen, so like juniors and seniors, we would interact with freshmen and sophomores and make sure that they were um, socially engaging on campus as well as keeping up with their grades. So we would meet up like once a week on Thursday in the group, and then we would also individually, like the mentors, would meet up with our own little group of students, and we would just like we'd make sure they're cool, make sure they're having fun at college, make sure they're able to focus, de-stress, get stuff done, and just like any resource they needed, kind of point them to it, just kind of like be a helping hand towards getting them to acclimate towards college. Because most people have always had their parents holding their hands the whole time, and then when they get to college, it's a whole new strange place, and they're
Right.
nervous
Right.
and scared. And young minorities already got so much against them in that type of atmosphere. So we try to do our little part to like grab the students who are interested and ensure their like academic and social success as they were moving through school. I did that at IUP. I thought about something similar for the city, and me and him got to keep talking about it and figuring it out. But I was thinking something like taking like 4 or 5, like 5, 7 men in the
Uh huh.
community
Uh huh.
that kind of care about the kids, genuinely care about the kids, not just
Right.
you know, and grabbing like 3 to 5 kids per person, like little black kids from the community, and setting up a program where we would hang out with them, make sure they're good, talk to them, just kind of like the stuff that they don't necessarily get from the male role models that are supposed to be in their lives, kind of like hang out with them, and then also introduce them to successful black men outside of what's normally viewed as a successful black man. You feel me?
Right.
So there's some black doctors in the city. We would organize like little field trips where we'd meet up with the black doctors and like have them like just maybe do a day of shadowing. So now these kids, they're like, shit, I could be a black doctor maybe. And then have them meet with you. You talk a lot about LLC. You work in an entrepreneurial environment. You got your own business. You got your own podcast. We hang out with you for a couple hours. You just talk to the kids, whatever. And they're like, damn, maybe I could be someone who runs my own life. I don't got to work for somebody. And then maybe take them to black construction men and black flaggers, and
Right.
and bring them to the barbershop if they've never been to the barber. So take them to places to get them to realize like I'm not limited to basketball and rapping or football and rapping, you know, and kind of like help put some of these kids in a path that they can see like that they could potentially have a future. They don't have to be a knucklehead. They don't have to be, they don't have to go through this super narrow path. There's like bigger paths that are more lucrative and more successful. Why don't we go to, if like a black person owns like a construction company or like a remodeling company, let's go do some remodeling for a day. Some light remodeling. They might
Right.
enjoy it, because so many people don't know what they actually like because they're so our community and our culture is heavy on being like conservative and not trying anything that other people that don't look like us don't try. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Like
Absolutely.
we tend to be very like, oh, if he got a clothing company, so I can have a clothing company. He has a this, so I can have a this. But like nobody ever tries to, I don't know, have like nobody tries to open up a random hookah lounge, or nobody tries to open up a bank, or nobody until someone else does it. So if
Right.
if we start introducing kids at a young age to people that are doing different stuff, they don't have to put themselves in a box of I can only do this as a black man. No, you could, as cliche as it sounds, you could become the president. You
Right.
feel me?
Right. Right.
So yeah,
And
like
that's interesting to hear you say that stuff, man. Because me and Cannon was having a conversation. I literally, like, out of boredom, I wrote up my own personal program called the Unity 30 program. And
mhm.
literally, you literally just gave me, like, I can send it to you while we sit here. You gave me the outline of it. So, and that's why I think this is a good thing that I'm having these conversations and keep having these conversations and meeting people like this, because a lot of us have a lot of the same ideas. Like this, I believe you're my 19th person I've interviewed on live
Mm-hmm.
since I've had the YouTube thing going. And like all of us is pretty much saying the same things when it comes to like getting involved and the village mentality and just being more active in the community and doing more for our kids and more for these programs. But again, it seems like somehow, some way, we're missing one another. We aren't connecting. Why do you think um us like-minded individuals who live in the city of Erie aren't making the connections that we need to make in order to make the change? Because again, like I said, I've had this is my 18th interview, and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure if you know anybody I interviewed, but I believe like a lot of you all don't know each other. But why don't we know each other, and why aren't we making those connections to kind of get this thing going? What do you think? Why do you think that is?
Um, I'm not entirely sure on why we don't know each other. I think sometimes we have in our community too, like uh, a barrier that we put up. Like we make faces and we make stern faces and we stand like this, like I'm not gonna talk to him unless you talk to me. But then it's weird. It's really weird, right? Because as soon as that barrier gets broken down with a "Hey, what's up, brother?" or a joke, now it's like, "Hey, what's up, what's up, what's up, love?" You know what I mean?
Right.
So maybe it's just like it's too many barriers, and we just like we sometimes come off standoffish and like stand against each other, and then where would we meet though? That's the thing. Where would we meet? Like where would we run across from each other except like maybe at the barbershop or like like there isn't too many places for us to interact frequently. We just like we kind of hang out with our friends, sometimes go to the bars, do this and that, but like there aren't community gathering spots for us. So like we don't get the opportunity to have these conversations. But I can't pinpoint why we because I like if my friend Wamid didn't have the same mindset that I had and we didn't share that conversation between me and him, I would never know that you were interested in it,
Right.
or I would never know that anybody else is interested in it. You know what I mean? But
Right.
it's only because we were already friendly that we were able to be like, yo, what can we do together to kind of like, to make a difference for these youth or for these people or that people. But I don't know. I think we just got to have more. You're doing it right now. These kind of
Listen,
conversations, and
that's
this
the
is like a
plan for real.
census. This is like a census
No, it
of
really is. Like, and honestly, that's
yeah.
what I've been telling people. Like, it's kind of like it's interviews and it's different discussions with different men around the community because I'm trying to figure out like who can be paired with who can be put with who, or how we can all figure out a way to where we can make things happen. And it's not just us just having conversations on Facebook Live, or it's not just us in the comment section, or it's not just us just, all right, let's do a march. But let's like actually some men who we know have some skills, some qualities, some characteristics that can kind of come together to build something, to
Mm-hmm.
develop something, and to kind of make things happen. So I'm glad when I be having these conversations, like after the conversations, my phone get to ringing, and then it seems like more people are interested in coming on, or then the
Yeah.
people who who were slow on responding are responding now because people want to have these conversations, and I feel like people want to get involved. And it's like I said, you number 18, and my list is I got it all saved on my computer. I'm at I got rows and columns. I'm just gonna pull it up real quick. I got rows and columns, and I think I'm all the way at I'm at 72. So I have
Oh.
72 names on the list. I've already done 19 interviews. I'm waiting for some people to say they with it. Excuse me. I'm waiting for some other people to lock in dates. I believe there's only two people who weren't able to do it for their own personal reasons. But outside of that, like, so then I'm thinking about it. Like, imagine if like once we get to the point to where all these interviews are done, or all these conversations are had, or people start crossing paths. Like, imagine if we all just like, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna have a conference, and we're gonna all just talk. If one person go up and grab the mic, and we just take turns until we done, because now we're around like-minded people. Like, imagine the power that can come out of that room and the ideas that will be generated, man. Like, what would be your thoughts on that? But again, like I said, the list is 72, and I don't know if you know half these people, but like, what would be your thoughts on that if you knew it was 71 other people who were thinking similar to you, or someone on the same wavelength as you, to kind of move forward? Like, how would you feel, and what would you do with that?
I would say when is the date of the event? Because I'm there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Um, yeah, I think I try to put accountability on me to do stuff and get stuff done, you know, because I know as a leader, nothing ever starts without you. Like everything starts with you. You know what I'm saying? So a few months back, because I'm big into like entrepreneurial and like trying to get away from working, trying to separate your income from your time. that's very important for you to like amass wealth over time, right?
What do you mean when you
So
say that? Wait, slow it. I love the concept. I understand it. Slow it down. What do you mean?
so if your time is always attached to your income, you will only ever be able to make up to a certain amount, right? But if you separate your time, the amount of time that you work to the amount of income you can make, then you can make as much income as you want. So for me, I don't want to have to work unless I want to work. I love working. I'm a hustler. Even during the pandemic when they were giving out free money, I was cutting hair. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I can't just sit on my ass all day, but I don't want to have to work to pay my bills because then it feels like a constraint. So my thing is big. I'm big on like having passive income. I'm
Okay.
big on creating on doing work that like the work is disproportionate to the pay. So say for example like this media stuff, right? Say I do a year's worth of work for free. I amass 100,000 people, and then now every video I do gets 100 views, and that 100 views gives me $3,000, even though I did 2 hours of work now. You know what I'm saying? I
Got
like,
you.
yeah, like so separating your time from your income is extremely important. Like being like, oh, I make $50 an hour. So what? You make $50 an hour. You have to work an hour to make that 50. Versus, you know what I mean? Versus
Got
like
you.
versus like, oh, I worked 25 minutes and that 25 minutes brought me, today might have brought me nothing, but tomorrow it might bring me 2,000. And that day, or you know what I mean? Or I don't got to work. I got tenants. I could just pull up on, collect my check and leave. And I got to work once a month. Like, yeah, that's stuff like that's very important to me. So I try to set up entrepreneurs meeting. I tried 2 or 3 times. I think it was 2 times. I tried twice with some people that always talk about being entrepreneurs, and I actually did it over there at Radius, and I
Okay.
brought donuts and everything, and it broke my heart, man. Both times, people were telling me they were so happy that they were going to show up, and we were going to start, sharing ideas and get together and make something happen. And the first time, you know, nobody came. I was like, whatever. Fool me once, shame on me, or shame on you. Fool me
Right.
twice, shame on me. So the second time I did it, and I spent my money again, bought some donuts, uh, like scheduled for the class to be empty and all that stuff, and nobody came. And that made me like kind of like made me disheartened a little bit because it
Uh-huh.
made me feel like other people don't wanna like actually move forward. They're cool with the talk, but not with the action.
Right.
And like so if you were to bring something up where like 71 other people said they would show up and we are gonna kind of like do different stuff to kind of like help the community and educate ourselves and like
Absolutely.
because we can grow in all types of manners. We could grow financially, we could grow as a community, we could grow emotionally, we could talk about mental health, we could like I'm all for positivity and just growing and benefiting your life in general. So if you were to say we can meet or something like that or like to organize it or we were to organize something, I would be there.
Okay.
No
All right.
question. No question.
Absolutely. I'm glad. And then
Yeah.
I'm glad that you hit on the mental health thing because I ask every single guest that I have on here, like I'm a huge advocate for mental health. I
Yeah.
make sure that I take care of my mental health. Maintenance is good. I got my coping skills. Like, what's your take on mental health? How do you address it? What's your thoughts on it? How do you deal with it?
I think my take on mental health. I think don't pay attention to the stigma that other people put on it. For a long time, there was a stigma of like if you're focusing on your mental health, you got to be crazy or you got to be. Mental health is extremely important, and I think mental health and mental issues. People, when you say those words, people automatically assume the worst. When in reality, um, even something small as trust issues could be something that could be considered like a mental health issue that you just should overcome to be better. I think everyone should strive to have the highest quality of life that they possibly can have, and that means
Excuse me.
every little problem that you can fix, fix. I hate that word fix, but every little problem that you can address that
There
can
we
make your
go.
life better should be addressed. So mental health is super important to me. Again, like I said, I love working hard. I love grinding, but sometimes I overgrind and I burn
Hmm.
myself out and then I slow down. But when I'm working hard, but then I pay attention to my mental health, the amount of times I'm hanging out with my friends, amount of times I'm able to just take a walk or like get away and breathe, and I'm way more efficient. You know,
Right.
if you
Right.
don't, if you don't work on your mental health, it will hinder you. And it's not even to say that like mental health is like, oh, stigma word, crazy. It's just like you are a person who has a certain capacity for stress, and you got to deal with that stress consistently. And if you don't, it will impede your quality of life. So
Excuse me.
everyone should be looking into their mental health, looking at ways to deal with their mental health, meditating, breathing, reading. Uh, if you can afford a mental health professional, go ahead, talk to them, because a lot of times it's not them trying to fix you, it's just them giving you ways to deal with um, like giving you stress coping mechanisms,
Right,
and teaching you things that you have no way of knowing naturally. They have to
right.
do research to figure stuff out. So it's like, don't pay
What?
attention to the stigma that other people have. Take care of your mental health. It's important. That's my take on it.
Why do you think that like it's the subject is so intimidating from people in the community as far as mental health?
I think it's because it's relatively new to be accepted.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people have a hard time. A lot of people tend to think of things in polarity. It's either all the way good or all the way bad. So you're either all the way healthy or you're all the way crazy. So when you say, "Hey, pay attention to your mental health," you be like, "I'm not crazy. What are you talking about? I'm
Right,
good."
right,
Yeah, nah, you're it's a spectrum. You're in the middle somewhere. You might have more stress than you should in your life. You might have, just like, I don't know. I think it's that polarity. Is that like, oh, if you're focusing on your mental health, that means you're trying to fight the crazy. It's
right,
like, nah, it's not. That's not it. You're
right,
just think
right.
you're just making sure you're happy.
So, like, and I'm sitting here, like, as I'm sitting here, I'm scrolling on your Facebook page and I'm seeing some of the stuff that you talk about. And, like, I know, like, when growing up, me for myself, growing up and kind of getting to, like, developing more into a man and being more professional and being more appropriate and being more encouraging, like, as
Yeah,
you start to go up, you kind of, like, start to lose friends. And I'm, like, looking at your Facebook page and I'm seeing some of the things that you post and it's, motivational and it's positive and it's, so how is that like when you as you start to and or as you are transitioning into a man, like what was it like for you? Like what type of people are you surrounding yourself with now? And are you surrounding yourself with the same people that you always have, or did some people have to go?
some people had to go, for sure, and I didn't make it. I gotta cut you off or cut you off. It happens naturally.
Right,
As I prioritize the things that are important in my life, those things will conflict with the things that are important in your life, and naturally, some people won't want to come around because some people just want to blaze up, some people just want to drink, some people just want to party, some people want to do, and if I'm saying, hey, I gotta go to sleep at 9, but you come alive at 9:30, you're gonna stop hitting me up.
right,
You feel me? So a lot of people, I'm separate as I continue through life. I'm separating from people and I'm meeting people consistently, and I'm rekindling old friendships like my boy TJ. We were friends when we were younger, always stayed friends, but we were better friends when we were younger. Went to school. We went to the same school, but like he did his thing, I did my thing. Now, as we're getting older and we're on the same path, we're connecting a lot more, and we're talking about meditating and mental health and spirituality and going to church and all this different stuff. And it happens naturally because it's like
right,
the conversations I speak will attract the people that want to hear the conversations that I'm speaking, and
right.
the conversations that I'm not. The people that want to hear that won't get it from me, so they'll go and find it elsewhere.
Right. And like the post that's sticking out to me is the one you posted. It says the people you decide to surround yourself with will always influence your state of mind. If you can't find like-minded people who are pursuing their passions and stand alone, as you keep
Stand
building
alone.
and grinding, you'll attract them to you. You don't owe anyone anything, but you do owe yourself everything. Get in your bag and make it happen. Last motivation speech of the day. And
Yeah.
when I seen it, I shared it. And I'm like, like you should be comfortable with associating yourself with people who speak publicly like this, who understand this type of thing. So like then you said, as you kind of elevating, putting new people into your life, like what are some not who, but like as far as some of the new people that you're involving yourself with, or the new relationships that you're building, like what type of people are we talking about that you're surrounding yourself with? What are some of the characteristics? What are some of the qualities? Like, tell me about some of these people that you know are in your life now.
A few things that are very important to me are, well, the number one important thing to me is integrity.
Okay.
Integrity is crucial to me, right? Who are you when no one is watching? You know, so
Absolutely.
everybody that I will introduce in my life moving forward, I have to know that they're genuine to themselves, they're genuine to their future, all that good stuff. But they got to be like, they got to have high sense of integrity. I'm also aligning myself. I'm actively trying to align myself with like friends who are like good parents to their kids, because that's what I want one day. I want to be a
Hmm.
good father to my kids. So like my boy Waleed, I don't link up with him all the time, but whenever I can, I be trying to, because he's a good father, a good man in the community, stuff like that. Like people that you can grow for the rest of your life with, because like if you're making friends without paying attention, you're just gonna make friends that are fun but might not necessarily be going anywhere. But when you start
Right.
paying attention to who are the friends that you're making and the acquaintances that the relationships that you're building, you start to be selective in the sense of like, where is this person heading? You're not just looking at like, how do I feel when I'm around them, because that's important, right? But you're also looking at like, where is this person heading? What are they doing with their life? What do they want out of their life? And that's super important, because if what you want out of your life doesn't look like what I want out of my life, why are we why are we wasting time?
Right. Right.
Why are we wasting? Because we're you're gonna pull me away from my purpose. I'm gonna pull you away from your purpose. And having friends that look like you, not in the sense of actually physically look like you, but look like you in their character
Right.
and in their destination, will help you move towards that destination faster. Because when I slip, they're gonna say get up, and when they slip, I'm
Right.
gonna say get up. Whereas if I had a friend that's going in the other direction, when I slip, they're gonna be like, hey, yeah, come on, bro, this way. Why are you going that way anyway? Now you
Right.
pull me further from my truth. Yeah, so just like people's characters, man. I've been paying attention to people's character and trusting people to be who they showed me they are, instead of trying to believe in who I want them to be. Because when you're an adult, man, it takes changing who you are is like moving a mountain.
Listen,
You
man.
know, only you and God could do that. I can't I can't I can't do it. So
Right.
I'm I've been paying a lot of attention to character, man. Character, who people are, what people want out of their life, and then like if that lines up, I'm gonna come around. If it doesn't, I'm not. And it's not. I don't take it any way. I'm not upset at you. I don't hate you. It's just I can't afford to waste my life
Right.
messing
I
around.
listen, man, that makes a lot of sense too when you say it like that because like as we develop it as men and we get older, we realize how important, how valuable time is. And then when you say like I guess making the best of your time and learning how understanding how to earn, like those are some valuable lessons. So then like I'm learning as I'm growing and as I'm separating myself from other people and new people are coming on, pretty much everything that you said, I'm watching the character, I'm seeing how they act, how they speak to people, how they
Yeah,
treat their children, how they treat their significant other, how they talk to their mother, and things of that nature. So
yeah,
like it's very, very, very beneficial to be able to look at some of those things. And I think that us as men, we all need to kind of start doing that. So then even when it comes to man and accountability, like I feel like every man needs to be accountable for himself as well as responsible. But when you have friends who fall short, like how do you address them to be more accountable, and how are you open to being addressed when you like a follower? Well, you just said that you are, but you know what I mean, how do you communicate with your fellow man or your bro, or you know what I mean, to let him know, listen, bro, like pick it up, get your shit together.
yeah. All of my friends will tell you. I'm gonna ask you hard questions, and I'm gonna tell you as is. I don't care. Like you could get in your feelings as long as you know I I love you for it, right?
Right.
Like if I don't check you as a friend, then I don't love you. If I just let you crash out and do stupid stuff and not speak up on it, I'm not really your friend. Like the other day, I'm when you ask how do I address when my friends fall short, straight up, like I'm not sugarcoating it. I'm sorry, because I don't have any negative or feelings towards you or animosity or anything like that. So when I'm like, yo, you wilding, bro, what's up with you? It's from a place of genuine care. Like when my friend, my cousin, the other day I was talking to him and I was just like, yeah, bro, you gotta like check out, you gotta figure out what's up with your drinking, straight like
Right.
that, like not,
Right.
like straight like that, like you gotta check out what's up with your drinking, like you're a great family member, you're great this, but like what are you doing here? What like it's just like that, very very straightforward. And then I'm considerate of people's emotions, so some people are more sensitive than others, but like even if you are a sensitive friend, I'm still gonna be direct, but I'm gonna just I'm a be respectful of the fact that you might be uh easily irritated. So I'm
Okay.
not gonna put it in a way where you can be irritated, but it's still gonna be the truth.
Okay.
I won't lie to you. I won't lie to you. I can't lie to
Right.
you. That's a
Right.
disservice.
Right. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And then like, so now I know my questions be all over the place, but I see you sitting in the shop. I hear all the tools and stuff going. What made you get interested in wanting to be a barber?
So I've been cutting hair since I was in like 10th grade. So I've been doing it for a long, long while. I started because like my friend Wuffy, Wamid's older brother, he knew how to cut hair really good,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I noticed him, and I'm the type of person I feel like I could do anything, if I put my mind to it. And I'm like, if he could do it, I could do it, and he getting paid. So I started learning from him. I got, excuse me, I got really nice really fast, and then but I was also only like a 16-year-old kid, so I was cutting friends for like $10, you know.
Okay. Okay.
And but you know your friends, they're always trying to get the best deal out of you. So people would started coming with like $9, $8. They're like, bro, let me get a free cut. And after that, I was just like, you know what, y'all not respecting my hustle. So now y'all don't got a barber anymore. So I stopped cutting people for like probably like 11 years. I was cutting my own hair though, you know. I was getting myself right. And then when the pandemic hit, I was working at a restaurant at the time, and they shut everything down, and they were giving people free money. Not free money, but they were giving people checks every week. But I'm the type of person that like has a hard time just sitting on my behind.
Right. Right.
So yeah, so I started looking around like, where's the opportunity? And then I noticed shops were closed, and I'm like, man, if shops are closed, that means I don't got no clientele. But if I put something up on Facebook, I'm cutting. Everybody's coming my way. So I bought this little red bag, and I was I was the first person out here doing like, I'm not gonna say I was the first person doing house cuts, but I was the first person promoting it online and doing house cut specials and stuff like that.
During
I
the
was calling them
pandemic.
yeah, quarantine cuts.
Okay.
I was calling them quarantine cuts and quarantine specials. I had this really big like filter mask. I would come into people's house. I'd be hot with that mask on, but I'd still be cutting and just like, that's when everybody thought it was still wild. But I was trying to get a couple dollars, you know. I was moving
Uh.
around. Um, I started seeing that like there was some good money in it, and I was doing like, being a travel barber. You cut way fewer people because you gotta pack, unpack, you gotta travel, you gotta, you know, there's a lot of hassle that comes with it. And I noticed I was making more money doing house to house calls than I was at work. So I just did the math. I'm like, so if I'm in a stationary place and
Right.
I'm making the same amount I'm making, I'm killing them, you know? So I decided to cut like 100 heads and then go to the shop. And I was cutting Craig's son, Jamal. And as I was cutting him, I was telling him that I was going to get into a shop. And him and Brev, my other friend, he's a solid guy too. Um, they were both like, yeah, man, you should go to Dapper Don's. I think you'll fit in there well. And I came here, had a conversation with Craig. Um, it was a quick conversation. He saw my picture. He saw that I'm the, like, what I say. I'm about my word, you know. So I was like, yeah, man, I'm gonna come in here and do what I gotta do. Da da da. And he saw that I had pictures ready. I came at 9, dressed well, like, you know. He was like, yeah, come through. We gonna get you your license, and you're gonna be one of the barbers here at the shop. And it's been a couple of years since. So yeah, it just
That's
happened naturally, very organically.
That's what's up, man. And Craig's definitely a good dude too, man. I love throwing ideas off him. Him and I to have good conversations. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that that's where you at too, because like I said, I feel like the environment is always good. You got a lot of good positive people behind you. You got good positive people coming in. They know ain't no nonsense going on over, no BS going on over there. So like, man, that's what's up for real. So I'm gonna ask you another question. You know, I mean, we running on like an hour. And like I said, I try not to run them, saturate nobody out. But I
Yeah,
heard you use the word kind of humble a little bit earlier. But my question to you is like, how do you go about, like, because you got a lot of good stuff going on. When you talk about some of the things, like your background from going from Sudan to Egypt, coming over
yeah,
here, having an opportunity to be involved in multiple different cultures, then going to the HBCU, and then like actually making a decision that, hey, I want to get a taste of culture. Like, how do you celebrate yourself, or how do you praise yourself for your accolades, or just acknowledge that, hey, I'm a great person, I'm a great guy, and I'm doing good things, and you know what I mean? This is who I am. Like, how do you hype yourself up when nobody else is looking, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So before I came here, I like to be prepared. You know, pre- proper preparation prevents poor performance. So when I came on here, just I wrote down a few things that I would want to touch upon if it ever got like if it was a dull moment, or if you asked me to kind of like have a portion to lead the conversation or whatever, whatever. So I just prepared myself, and one of the things on there, it was actually number 4, is positive self talk. That
okay,
I would. It's right here too. You know,
he
got a
made
little
he
list.
made he made note cards.
Nah, seriously, seriously, I was ready. But yeah, positive self talk. I think I think sometimes we are critical of ourselves. I'm super critical of myself, but that's because I know my capacity, I know my potential, and I know I can be better. But I make sure to not talk down to myself as much as I like. I never talk down to myself, and even when I do, I make sure to catch it right away and flip it. You know what I'm saying? Um, I'm big on positive self talk. I go into the mirror and say, you know, you're smart, you're handsome, you're funny, you're charismatic, you're going to be great. I appreciate where you are right now. And you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're working towards the future, but where you are right now is amazing. You're capable. I say all these positive things to myself. I don't talk about myself. I hate when people be like, oh man, I feel dumb or I'm kind of dumb. No, you're not. You're not dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop saying that about yourself. You're going to feel like that about yourself. So for me to celebrate myself, I just talk to myself. I talk to me nice, you know.
There we go. There we
Yeah,
go.
I talk to myself nice because I know I did so much, and even though I have the desire to do more, which is a natural human thing, I know I did a lot, and I know I'm super proud of myself. You know, even if no one else ever says it, I tell myself I'm proud of myself all the time, all the time, and yeah, I think that's just like really important. Just being like being able to be your biggest fan because if if your emotions are based on how other people feel about you, when other people don't feel good about you, you're gonna fall through.
Right.
You're gonna fall through the cracks. But if you're number one fan, and even at a time where the whole world is against you, you know what I'm saying? And but you're still your number one fan, and you're still talking good to yourself, and you still know who you are, you know, you're gonna be okay because you still got the same confidence. It hasn't been shaken. You still got the same determination, the same discipline. It hasn't been shaken because
Right.
you're the one that's talking to yourself. You got the power of your perspective, or you got the power of how you feel about yourself. And that's one thing I never let like other people have control over is how I feel about myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
Bro, where did all of this come from, man? Like, where did you? How did you build this character of this man? Like, where did all like? Because again, I mean, to me, it sounds great. You know what I mean? Like, especially because I'm big on positive self talk. I remember like working my job, my primary job. I used to tell my clients, like, I tell myself I'm the shit in the mirror every single day because
every day.
nobody else is gonna tell me that. You know, nobody else is gonna actually say that to me and mean it. So it makes
Yeah,
me feel good about myself and it makes me keep my head up. But like to hear some of the stuff that you got going on and you've been through, and then like for you to just like have that type of positive mindset, like we need to see it. And I sat here and I scrolled your social media page, so I know you aren't one of those people that need to be telling that we need to hear more of this from, or we need to see more of this from, because you definitely have no problem saying, putting the positive messages out there and letting people know this is how you shine. You know what I mean? This is how you get down. So I appreciate you, man. I appreciate the conversation. I
yeah,
appreciate your Facebook posts. I appreciate coming in the shop and just hearing you like say little stuff, even when you just make small talk with my son and stuff like that, man. I appreciate being around good people. And like I
yeah,
said, this is either my 18th or my 19th interview, and it seems like I'm just interviewing a bunch of different men who we all have the capabilities to be motivational speakers. Like we all can go in the room and take over the room. We all have good or great messages to provide. And like I was saying earlier, I don't want this to just be a social media thing. I don't want this to just be a YouTube channel thing. Like it's gonna come a point to where we're gonna put some action to our words,
yeah.
filtering people out. More people are getting involved. Now it's people reaching out to me, man. So and then you said you had notes over there. So now like I said, we ran up on the hour. Where did we hit all of your notes, or are we missing out on anything? Was there any talking points that I missed out on that you had planned on covering?
Um, two things, right?
What you
You
got?
you you do the LLCs and start businesses and stuff like that, right?
Right.
I wanted to ask you to for the people who are listening, what are like what's your perspective of building your own and 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 finding your freedom financially, like working towards your freedom financially. What's your perspective on that? How
Oh,
important is that to you?
you
Yeah,
actually me, my perspective. Okay, so here's the
yeah,
thing. When it comes to that, when it comes to the business thing in the LLC, I think like it's simple steps to do, but it's a lot to understand.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So once you get it, I have a lot of children. I have 8 children. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So I'm what I'm doing right now is I'm working on setting up a system to where my money doesn't come directly to me, but it
Mm-hmm,
goes through trust and it goes through different hands. I have a nonprofit organization as well as an LLC. It
mm-hmm,
goes through different ways to where we are all going to be financially stable, but we're not going to be in debt as far as taxes, because a lot of people who set up LLCs and establish S corps and stuff like that, they do it. I'm not going to say to avoid taxes, but to pretty much set themselves free of any financial responsibilities or stressors. So for
Hmm.
me, setting up LLCs is very important. And I think it's beneficial again, not just for me, but for my family, for my children, because it's a way that we can all establish and do business, and it's things that they don't teach us in school on how to do. So I
Hmm.
think like when we go to school, we're taught to be when we go to school, we think about the hours of the school day. Like you're going to school to learn how to be a worker, to be an employee.
Yeah.
And they don't teach you about the LLC, and they don't teach you about like all the requirements or all the benefits of having them. So I think it's important for a lot of us to get involved with getting the LLC, and it's a very, like I said, easy process. An EIN number is free. Pay $125 to register your LLC with the state. But then
Yeah.
once you go from there, it's all about the ideas that you do have to
Yeah.
be able to move forward. Like I have ideas, you know what I mean, as far as like what I'm gonna do with the LLC and then the 501c3 and then again the S corp and then the trust fund to have everything backing. But it's definitely it's futuristic for me for the most part right now. Like I'm looking at it like, you know what I mean? You have to make sure that you're securing the bag, you're securing your family, you're not giving all of your money away to taxes to Uncle Sam,
Yeah.
acquiring assets and keeping the LLC name on the assets so people can't sue you personally to
Yeah.
come for your belongings and stuff like that. So it's definitely beneficial for me. I'm only going to
Yeah.
speak for myself because I'm a nerd at heart. You know what I'm saying? I have no problem doing the research and understanding everything, all the steps that it takes. But again, I have 8 children. So and I need to make sure that if anybody wants to come for me and try to take me out, that they can't get all of my money or all of my assets. So that way, I'll
Your
have it
family's
established
protected.
different ways to where, I mean, my family are going to be untouchable regardless of what I do.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. And then another thing on top of that, right? I want to if someone has you say you have a lot of ideas, and this goes along with that last question. If someone has an idea and they want to bring that idea to fruition,
Hmm.
but they don't know what to do, how would you tell them to go about it? One, it's a two-part question, and or it's a one-part question, but like, how do you feel about the importance of being able to research the things you need, whether that's marketing, whether that's developing your business, all that, just research in general.
Hmm.
And and what advice would you give to someone who has an idea and they want to make it come to fruition?
Okay, so the advice I would have first of all, I would say, do it scared. I would say
Okay.
do it scared because a lot of us we have these great ideas and we're
Hmm.
afraid of like applying them or we're afraid of putting them out there because first of all we're worried about what our friends are going to say, worried
Yeah.
about what our family's going to say, then we're going to worry about if people are going to believe in us or not. So anytime that I have a new idea, I'm always afraid of the idea, and sometimes it's in a good way, you know what I mean, sometimes it's an enthusiastic way. But I it's been times where I've allowed my fears to stop me from pursuing my ideas, and then I see other people do it, and I'm like, oh man, that could have been me. So the first thing that I would say is to do it afraid. You know what I mean, and be proud of yourself when you do it, and to celebrate yourself as you do it. I would also say,
I
don't
like
do
that.
it alone. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because again, I feel like with anything business related, family relationship related, whatever the case may be, you can't do anything alone. So when it comes time to do some research, there are going to be times where you're going to be reading things. You're going to have to call people. It's Mike can say, hey, call this office. Call, get some help.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. And then when it comes to research, and this honestly, this is how I make money when it comes to research and like helping people set up their LLCs and establishing things like that. It's just read. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people won't take the time or the patience to slow down and read the
Yeah.
information that is in front of them, so they'll just be like, "Oh man, I don't get it. I don't understand this. I don't know how to do this. Can you help me?" So then I'm
Yeah.
the type of person I'll tell you, I can help you. You know, some people will say, "Hey, I'll pay you to help me," and they're literally paying me to read information and do research because some people don't have patience. So I
Yeah.
will say, like, when it comes to doing research, research will get you anywhere that you want to go as long as you have the patience to read. Because then
Yes, sir.
sometimes you need money, and if you don't have the money, you can present your idea to somebody who does have the money based on your research, and you can sell it to them. They'll be like, "Oh wow, I can tell you've done your research, even though
Yeah.
you don't have the funds. This is how I'm going to help you. I believe in you because you've done the research, you have thorough documentation, you believe in yourself, and I'm not afraid to fail, man. Like I'm not afraid to fail at anything because I feel like I'm at one point in time, like you know what I mean. I said I have 8 children. Like at one point in time, I felt like I failed as a father. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And when I was doing things I had no business doing when I should have been taking care of my children, that right there made me realize and understand that if you'll turn your back on that, then there shouldn't be anything that you're afraid to fail at. And you need to be in pursuing things once I got in order. You know, like because I am a better father now. I am more involved in my children now. But at
Yeah.
one point in time, I was willing to do anything and not be there for them So I now feel like if I can do that, then I can do anything and not be afraid to fail at it, because eventually it'll come back around if I don't die or go to jail. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would tell people to do it scared, don't do it alone, and do all the research that you, no matter how long it takes. It's been days where I did not sleep because I'm reading, I'm
Yeah.
watching YouTube videos, I'm Googling, because I want better for myself. So I guess I mean, honestly, it depends on the person. It depends on your mentality. It depends on your mindset and what you're trying to do. Because if you want it, trust me when I tell you, if you want it bad enough, you'll go hard for it and you'll go far for it. And you'll be surprised what you can find with the internet or with a book or asking the right person the right question on the right day. So
Yes, sir.
that's what be my suggestion.
Perfect. Yeah, that's we touched upon everything else. I just wanted to get your perspective on a few things. I know you be asking everybody the questions, but like you got a lot of knowledge too, you know. So I'm like, let's get some out of you.
I appreciate it, man. Actually, you the first person to actually ask me some questions like that. You know what I mean? So I appreciate it. Um, and I like I said again, I said like I don't want to saturate. We've been on here an hour and 15 minutes, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate all the information that you had to share, and I appreciate those questions and then you allow me to offer my insight. But I'm gonna
yeah.
let you, I'm gonna let you have it. Like you know, it is the Deng da Barber show. So last couple minutes, if you got any plugins you want to drop, or if you got any more questions you want to ask me, or any information you want to give to the people, like I'm gonna
Yeah.
give you the floor and allow you to do that before we send you on your way.
Yeah, all I was gonna say is thank you for having me on the show. I really, really appreciate it. I'm about to subscribe, like all that stuff. Everybody that's watching, do the same. Share it too. Like, don't be afraid to share. I always take stuff from YouTube and just share it on Facebook. I find that a lot of people won't do that. People will only share what's already shared. You know what I mean? So if you watching this and you were appreciating what you heard for the last hour or the last couple 19 episodes, go ahead, share this directly to Facebook. Be the first person to share it, you know?
There we go.
Again, thank you for having me on here. I'd say go check out Flash Mob Podcast. Good quality entertainment. Deontay, you'll be on there eventually. I gotta talk to my guys and schedule a time because I know you're a busy man too, but we definitely want you on there. We'd love to have you on there. Last thing I'll say is, man, the messages what I wrote down, if anybody was interested, accountability, be accountable. You know what I'm saying? Make yourself accountable for the things you want to come to fruition. So be the leader that you want to see. No, I wrote down no help is coming. I want people to have the mentality that there's no help coming. You got to be the person and make it happen. So just go out there and get it. And then once you start getting it, people are going to see and they're going to try to assist you if they can. But if you're not helping yourself, nobody will ever be able to help yourself. Um, and yeah, that's it. Like, have high integrity, be positive, like be kind to somebody, man. If you're going through the day and you see somebody and you like you see that they're having a hard time, or even if they're not, just be kind to them. Say something nice, you know. If you're in front of the Chipotle line, maybe buy the person behind you something and tell them be nice to the next person. Like, pass out positivity, man. There's too much negativity going around, and it takes more energy to be negative than to be positive. So like that's my last little thing I want to say is like just be positive, be kind, do something for somebody.
There you go, man. I appreciate it, man. I'm gonna let you get back to handling your business. I gotta get ready to go pick my little man up from school. So you enjoy the rest of your day. I
You
appreciate your
too.
time. I appreciate the insight, man. There you go,
Yes,
everybody.
sir.
It's Deng the Barber. Make sure
Yes,
y'all go
sir.
check him out if you need a cut. He's up there at the Dapper Dawn Styling Lounge on 25th and P Street, right on the corner by the light. Go check him out and make sure you visit the Flash Mob Podcast channel. They got some things coming. I can't wait for my invitation to be a guest on the show. So that being said, man, thank you, Deng. You have a good one, man.
You too. Appreciate
All
you, brother.
right.
All right.
All right, so there you go. There we have it, man. We have my man Deng da Barber on the social experiment. And listen, man, that was a very interesting conversation. You know, it was very insightful. And like I said, he's a very level-headed man. I've had plenty of great conversations with him just in a barbershop, you know, just in passing and just hearing some of the things he talks about and the environment that he's in. Like it's powerful, it's empowering, it's enlightening. And we need to continue to have conversations with men like this in the city of Erie, Pennsylvania. We need to start connecting. We need to start linking up with each other. We need to start plugging in. We're going to continue to have these conversations going. We're going to continue building. We're going to continue networking. I appreciate everybody who watched the show. If you have not done so already, make sure that you are subscribing to the channel. You are liking the videos, comment on the videos. Even if you dislike them, leave a comment. Let me know. I'm open for feedback, open for improvement. But again, I appreciate everybody for being here. I appreciate all of the watchers. I appreciate all of the viewers. I appreciate the comments, the support, the text messages. We're going to keep this rolling. I'm not sure if I have another interview tonight, but I do know that I have Mr. Michael Ewing going tomorrow as well. He's a real estate agent in the Erie community. So we're going to make sure that we stay tuned, we stay posted. Again, y'all have a good rest of y'all day. I'm gonna go ahead and take care of some business. We are going to see you again later. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications so when we go live, you are receiving alerts. Have a good rest of your day, everybody.